Hey, Ben, big fan. I had two quick questions. Number one, I think it was Federalist 78 where Alexander Hamilton said the judiciary was the weakest branch and that he...
The least dangerous branch.
Least dangerous
quote,
because
yeah.
they didn't have a mechanism to enforce their decisions?
Right. Yes.
So given that with the...
they have neither power nor will. Yeah.
Upholding of the stay of the Ninth Circuit Court, are there any, I suppose, political or constitutional ramifications if... I don't even like Donald Trump, but if he...
If Trump were to say screw it and just go ahead and enforce it.
I mean, because I think everyone agrees it's a little silly. So, I mean... If
So I think that as a last resort, the President of the United States creating what's a supposed constitutional crisis is not the end of the world. The Constitution is actually built for this. So believe it or not, I wrote my third-year thesis at Harvard Law School on exactly this topic. And I wrote it about the idea that judicial review is never actually mentioned by the Constitution, which it isn't. The idea that the judiciary gets to be the sole enforcer of what the Constitution means is not in the Constitution. That's what Marshall versus Madison, the Marbury versus Madison was all about. I think there's a very strong case Marbury versus Madison was wrongly decided and was actually a judicial power grab. That said, if the judiciary makes a decision that is unconstitutional, there are ways to fight back against the judiciary, including the Congress cutting its jurisdiction. Right, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is established by the Congress of the United States. If the Congress of the United States wants to cut its jurisdiction or split it in half or add judges or do whatever it wants, it can. So the Constitution actually has mechanisms by which you can curb the power of overreaching courts. And again, we've had situations in American history, Andrew Jackson most famously, where you've had presidents who have basically said to the court, go screw yourself. And the courts end up sort of moderating their position on things. Actually, FDR did this, right? He threatened to pack the court. Immediately, the court starts green-lighting his policies. So the judiciary is kind of a paper tiger. And when people say, oh, the judiciary is super duper important, it's what ensures our liberties, there's a great book called The Hallowed Hope by a guy named Gerald Rosenberg. He makes the case the judiciary really didn't do much of anything. The idea the judiciary creates our liberties or establishes our liberties, really they follow more than they lead, and they don't have the power to impose anything. Brown versus Board happens in 1955. There's no real desegregation until Congress passes the Civil Rights Act in 1964. Right? So the idea that the courts are the be-all, end-all, I think, is a silly one. And whenever people say constitutional crisis, in order for there to be a constitutional crisis, there must be no constitutional mechanism for fixing that crisis. Okay, the conflict between the judiciary and the legislature or the legislature and the executive, there are lots of ways that those have played out in history, and it's never ended the country.